All right, all right. You know, I'm going to try my best to make an attempt. And I do mean an attempt. And my attempt is going to try to explain to you what exactly is going on in just about as simple of layman's terms as I can put it. We the people are what you call enablers. And we have a junkie, a drug addict, that simply will not change what it's doing. And the reason why it won't change what it's doing, because it has an appetite that must be fed. And that appetite is debt. Now, what we do is we continue to remain optimistic about change. You know, think about it. If you have known people in their family who have had people who've been addicted to drugs or addicted to alcohol or any type of addiction, you know how these people think. You know, they always think that, okay, sooner or later they're going to get better or they're going to come out of this, and yet and still they get worse and worse and worse until they reach the last state, which is just death. And hey, no matter how many programs you put them into, they come back out, and then we become enablers again. That's the same thing we're doing with our country. You see, the people of the United States of America, the government cannot produce anything. It can only take. That's the reason why it needs you to go out and to work, to provide taxes so that the government can function, so that you can pay the 535. And for those of you who do not know who the 535 is, that's called your House, your Senate, and your president, vice president, and all the government. That's basically what it is. And so we have become enablers because we are dealing with an addict here. We're dealing with a debt addict that it just simply cannot get enough. And so, you know, we remain optimistic because we continue to keep listening to sources that tell us it's going to get better. It's going to get better. I mean, it really truly is going to get better. So we remain optimistic. And at the whole, you know, time, we're still sitting here feeding this addict more and more and more of our hard-earned tax dollars. And all it does is continue to keep going back to its junkie, back to its supplier. It remains a junkie, and that junkie, and it's a junkie for debt. It just cannot stop, and it will not stop. So what we have to do as a people is stop being enablers. We have to actually come to the reality ourselves that nothing is going to change. I mean, after all, President Barack Hussein Obama got into office when the national debt was, what they tell us, allegedly, $9 trillion. Well, right now we're sitting at $16.4 trillion, and it's looking like it's going to make it to 18. If he gets another turn, it's sad. It's so sad what's getting ready to take place and happen. So if you take the advice of this pastor right here, who's trying to tell you what you need to do, you need to stop feeding the addict. And the way you do that is you stop putting as much resources and time into that system as you can. You take from it. You say, well, Pastor, I got to work. I got to do this, got to do that. Hey, 50 million people are on food stamps. And you know what they do? They take that money that is given to them, and they go right back out to the sources, the stores. And we put that money back into the stores in order to buy goods and services in order for us to function and to live. And I understand we have to spend some money in that. But yet and still, you know, how about finding alternative sources like mom and pop stores to help feed them? Sure, you may have to pay more. But the truth is, are you really truly paying more? Because when you look at the size of the commodities in the stores today, if you look at ice cream continue to keep shrinking, yet the price remains the same, that's how they trick you and dupe you and deceive you into believing that you're still getting the same quantity because you only care about price and you don't care about how much you're actually purchasing. So therefore, you don't understand unless I bring it to your attention that your purchasing power is eroding left and right. So this dollar right here is getting worthless and worthless and worthless, not only in the United States of America, but worldwide. And since all our jobs have been outsourced through GAPTA, Captain, NAFTA, you know, when Clinton brought that stuff in the mid-90s, you know, hey, we have to continue. Our only solution, can you believe it? That the only solution that all these people have that have all this education is to print more money, expand the national debt, because we have no other solutions. You see, the fundamentals remain the same. The fundamentals remain the same. Gold and silver is money and nothing else. Period. Silver has been money for 6,000 years. We have scriptural, biblical history of that. No doubt about it. And believe it or not, your gas prices and everything that's tied to it is still priced in gold, even though we're off of the gold standard and we own a fiat, phony, fake monopoly currency-based system. So what's the solution? Well, take as much from the system as you can. Buy food. Buy tangible assets. Store your money in wealth. Invest it in people that you know that you can trust. That's how you do it. But don't continually go back and feed it to the large corporations that is being instrumental in bankrupting you and me as a society and a country. I mean, it's literally off the chain. So we have got to come to the reality truth that we have got to stop enabling the drug addict or the debt addict, which is our federal government, because you can see they have no solutions. The only option that they have on the table now is to expand the national debt in order to keep this afloat, because all the jobs have been outsourced and they're gone over the seas, and we're not producing anything anymore. Not in this country. Nothing at all. So I had somebody sent me a particular video, and for copyright, we got to guard ourselves against copyright infringements. There's actually a newscaster. I don't know who this cat is, but he actually goes through the painstaking task of explaining to us why the gas prices are rising and why our dollar continues to keep losing value. You know, Ron Paul said the other day when he was grilling Ben Shalom Bernanke again, he says in 2006, you could take a 1 ounce silver coin and buy 4 gallons of gas. 4 gallons of gas. Watch this now. Now, look at this now. 2012, you can take that same 1 ounce silver coin, price cost dollar over average, silver versus fiat currency. And you know what you can do? You can actually buy 11 gallons of gas for this 1 ounce silver coin. I think we need to actually get the people back to understanding sound money. Let me tell you what the real reason why Ron Paul is there. He is there to incite conscious, to awake conscious thought inside of a people who have been nothing but lied to, who have been optimistic that things are going to get better, and they keep getting worse, and they keep getting worse, and they keep getting worse. And you know, everybody knows about the proverbial frog inside of the bucket heating up, don't we? We know that we know what the end of that particular frog is, right? That's the end of this particular country. If we continue to keep doing the things that we are doing, which is nothing but the pure definition of insanity, and we don't change. We've got to make our own way because our government has failed us. They have made us the terrorists. All the laws that are passed, they're not against any raghead that's 5,000 miles away in some desert. We the ones are feeling all the oppression of this. And you're going to make a decision what you're going to do, whether you like it or not. It's just a little reality check. It's just the truth. And it's amazing because you can't take $40, because let's say silver's at $35. You know what? You can't take this much money right here and buy that amount of gas because it's trash. Cash is trash. I want you to take a listen and hear what this man has to say. I really truly want you to do. I really truly want you to listen to what he said. Now he's gonna go over some numbers, but I think more than anything, it would behoove you to pay attention and listen to what he has to say for education purposes so you can see, because when he gives you the shocking news that gas or oil, crude oil is undervalued, he does an excellent job at explaining this. And I have to clap my hands to it because he does a news reporter, but this is it looks like some type of independent news source. It ain't mainstream. It's just like way off. And so I don't know where it come from, but listen to his words. I just want you to listen to his words. Let me cut this up. Listen to his words.
Well, it is true that there are a number of reasons gas prices could be so high, but if you really want the truth, the answer is pretty simple, but it's very hard to fix. And it's right here. Gas is so expensive because this dollar is not worth what it used to be. The fiat dollar means that the price of oil is going up, and there is no real way to bring it down without dealing with the value of what you have in your wallet. Let's start with what a fiat dollar is. The word fiat is from the Latin, meaning let it be done, simply meaning that the value of a dollar is not based on anything. The Federal Reserve prints money without a standard of gold or silver. The dollar, therefore, it gets its value from nothing other than government decree. So when you print money, and then more money, and then more money, the value of each and every dollar drops. So why does that mean gas prices are so high? Well, they're high because the price of oil is so high, right? Well, actually, it's not. In fact, the price of oil, according to a recent article in Forbes magazine, is unusually low. How can that be? Not only that, but the article's authors also say that gas prices would have to rise by another 65 to 75 cents just to be normal. This makes sense? Now listen, I'm pretty good at explaining things, but you're going to have to stay with me to understand this. Are you ready? I'm going to use a cup here to represent 1 barrel of what's called West Texas Intermediate Crude Oil, also known as WTI. Now this barrel would trade at $105.88. That's the value of this oil in dollars. But it also trades at 79.95 euros, 8,439.69 yen, and 67.13 British pounds. All different currencies that express the price of 1 barrel of oil. What's important, though, is that the value of this oil isn't based on any of these currencies. It is tied to gold. 1 barrel of WTI is valued at 0.0602 ounces of gold. Are you with me? The value of oil is tied to the value of gold. So why is the price of oil undervalued? Well, get this. Since January 1st of 1971, there have been 493 months. During that time, the price of WTI has averaged 0.732 ounces of gold. Now, don't think in price of dollars here. Right now, we're talking about gold. So gold right now in oil is trading at 0.0602 ounces of gold for 1 barrel of oil. The WTI, that means, is only at 82% of its average right now, which means the price would have to rise and will rise at least another 75 cents a gallon just to hit its average. So when Republicans say that if only President Obama would have approved the Keystone Pipeline, the price of gas would drop, they're incorrect. It is true that President Obama wants alternative energy. It's true that he has said he doesn't have a problem with high prices, but he prefers a gradual adjustment. But even if the U.S. market were flooded with oil, the price would not drop dramatically because oil right now is underpriced. Recently, I also told you that part of the reason prices are so high is because oil companies are selling our oil in China and India. Now, it is true that this is not a supply issue because of our warm winter, and there's actually much more gas and oil on hand in America than oil companies had predicted. But I'll tell you this, I was incorrect because if oil companies refused to sell overseas and they kept all of that oil here, it would also not have a dramatic effect on gas prices. So here's what you need to know. The solution to this problem is in the value of our currency. You know, the price of gold is soaring. You know that. But do you realize that because the dollar is currently floating undefined fiat currency, there is no limit on how far the price of gold in dollars can rise. And therefore, there is no ultimate ceiling on gasoline prices. Look, our Fed chairman, Ben Bernanke, he just keeps on printing money. So if what I'm telling you is true, shouldn't the Fed stop printing in order to adjust the rising cost of oil and gas? Well, Bernanke uses a core CPI index to guide monetary policy. It's supposed to control the value of money against inflation. But that index excludes the price of two things, food and energy. So for Bernanke, gas prices aren't a problem. For you, they are. And that is reality check. If you would like to...
Boy, is that not shocking? I mean, I'm amazed that this man actually told the truth. Can you believe it? Ever since 1971, when Tricky Nicky Nixon took us off the gold standard and stuff, yet and still everything is priced in gold. You might be saying, Pastor Dow, how in the world is things priced in gold then, even though we're on a fiat-backed currency system? That is because your Congress, your government, called the American government, United States of America, they lie to you every time they're in front of them cameras. You have to understand, they're not interested in the truth. Everything is based on strategy. That's how lawyers work. That's how the court system works. Everything is based on strategy and deception. And whoever can win, whoever can be at the best at strategy and the best at deceiving people and stuff, they are the victor. You know why? Because there's no absolutes. We live in a country where there's nothing that's really absolutely right or absolutely wrong. And since we don't have any absolutes, now you're seeing why we're so wicked. Now you see why we're spiritually bankrupt. Now you see the reason why our morality, we're morally decayed. It's just off the chain. Well, why is it still backed in gold? That's because we're now dealing with a worldwide market. And they're not telling you that. Everything that BP, everything that Shell, everything that comes out of ground, whether it be here in the United States or across seas, whether you like it or not, the New World Order that you've been waiting on forever has been functioning for quite some time. That's why I said you need to wake up. You know, the problem is most of you people are still going to these boot-licking line churches that deceive you every time they open their mouth. Every time you go to a church on Sunday, you already don't know. We already know that you have not a clue to what's going on. So you're not even going to know. Even if it's, you can go into the store now and take this dollar and only buy 25 cents worth of goods and services. You don't know how to process thought. You don't know how to think. So it ain't going to affect you one way or the other. Sure. Are you going to starve? You better believe it. But you know what? Government decree is what determines the price or the value of this dollar. You know, the word, the benevolent word of the United States of America. Let's ask all ourselves an honest question. What has the United States of America, our government, ever told us that has ever been the truth? What treaty have they ever made with any country in this world or any people in this world that they have ever kept? Now you know the integrity, if you want to call it that, the basis of the system that we have all been deceived by and we live in. So what do, Pastor Dow? Well, you start storing up food. That's what you do, so you can be labeled a terrorist. You get your greenhouse and you start growing your own food because you know all these chemtrails and all these chemicals and stuff that they got in the skies and stuff that's poisoning your food. You stay away from genetically modified foods and you get your own livestock and you start learning how to eat from that. So therefore you don't have to rush to their hospitals and be shot up with snake venom and monkey pus. And then later on you don't have to be put on Prozac, Ritalin, and you don't have to drink their fluorinated water, which is what they tell us is designed for tooth decay, but is really destroying your immune system. You got to learn how to change your mind. You got to learn how to think. And you start limiting yourself in your rushing, running to and fro and stuff, and stop wasting money. Just stop it. You don't have the disposable income that you used to have years ago. Change the way you think. Kind of hard to do. If you think wrong, you live wrong, you act wrong, you're going to be wrong. If you don't know how to think right, how can you be right? Pretty sad, isn't it? It is a reality check. And I know that your preachers that you call pastors, yeah, I guarantee they don't keep you. They won't tell you the truth. They weren't going to tell you the truth. It's in their best interest to keep you under lies so you'll continue to keep coming to their so-called places of sun worship. That's what you do. One thing about the ministry where I pastor at, people's lives change. They get more encouraged. They develop a hunger and thirst for righteousness. They want to be right. They actually get direction. Hey, what's one of the last things you can do also? After you get finished developing your homestead or developing mutual assistance group with people who you can trust, then start buying gold and silver. Because whether we like it or not, it's going to continue to keep rising as this dollar is going to continue to keep falling. Cash is trash. We're in a worldwide global market. You need to wake up to the truth. Pastor Dow just told you the truth here today, and that is the truth. And that's the truth, straight way. Pass this video along and inform your family members who think they know it all and refuse to hear and to change.